Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Appreciate the opportunity to host the, I guess, first ever NCET Tech Wednesday here in Reno, Nevada. And my name is Steve Kaiser. I'm a member of NCET. I love this organization. I feel like we've missed a lot these last months. And so to have an opportunity like this, where we can all get together and talk about business and what's happening in our environment today is pretty awesome. And also for me to be able to share our experiences these last months as they relate to business and what we've gone through is pretty cool. So I'm Steve Kaiser. I'm the Director of Sales for our Reno office here. I'm really the market manager. So our company is a twofold company. And I think, you know, as we've talked to some of you about this before, the messaging sometimes gets confused. Our company is Sierra Office Solutions, and we've been in Reno for about 25 years, but we're also Xerox. And so I've been with the company coming up on the end of 12 years now here in Reno. I traveled about 5 years in my role here. I've had 4 different roles with the company, and the entire time we've been a Xerox-owned company, but we really have ran separately in this market as Sierra Office Solutions. The last 18 months, big changes. We've become part of a larger region, which encompasses the entire West Coast, 5 states, and we're Xerox proper. So not only are we supporting our customers at Sierra Office Solutions, 25 years worth of business relationships, but we're also supporting all of the Xerox customers. And so a couple of those to think about, one of them is the state of Nevada, so the Department of Health and Human Services, the Department of Transportation, the Department of Public Safety, Department of Corrections, all the largest state accounts are Xerox customers and have been for a lot of years. And so we support their offices across the entire state of Nevada, as well as people like the Washoe County School District, the Washoe County City of Sparks, the Carson City School District. So there's a lot in government. And then conversely, we also support a lot in commercial print. So large production print environments. And I'll talk about those a little bit here in a minute, give you a glimpse into that. But those are sort of mission specific kind of businesses that produce the paper content that we see everywhere, the marketing content, marketing books, marketing brochures, tickets and badges and credentialing, that kind of stuff. So that's really that. I'd like to move into a virtual tour. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm super excited today to have members from our team at Sierra and Xerox here with us to help field questions and answer some of the things that we're going to be discussing, and we'll be introducing those folks as we go along. So can you guys see my screen with the Reno facility tour?
Yes.
All right, so there's our building. So we have an actual building in Reno. It's behind the biggest sycamore tree I've ever seen. We have hundreds of thousands of cars going down Rock Boulevard every day, and they never see our sign. The notable landmark is the Flowing Tide Pub across the street. So we've been in this building about 15 years. It's a full service facility. If we were having an event today at our building, it would look something like the picture that you see there. It's about 12,000 square feet and 2 stories. We are, in fact, the largest office technology provider in our market by a pretty significant amount. There's a full-service demo facility there. One of our presenters there is Jim. If you could imagine what that would look like in today's environment, it would be Jim plus the mask. That's what that would look like. Let's move to the next one. So our last year's event was at our facility. We do one every year. So I guess this really is this year's event, right? You can see some of our people. So our local office includes sales, service, technical support, our analyst team, and a full-service demo hall. We have a lot of equipment and software applications and computers, the kinds of things that we typically would support there. And then there's our warehouse. So we have a nice presentation and meeting room. You'll see a board there on the left. We're going to talk about those in a little bit because part of the return back to the office scenario includes a way for people to communicate both in the office and out of the office. And we happen to have one of those large boards. That's basically an oversized tablet sitting on the stand. And then we have a warehouse. We have local parts. We support hospitals and casinos. We support government and emergency responders. We support all of the critical businesses. And so our facility and our team has been working through COVID, even when they kicked all of us out of the building on St. Patrick's Day to work remote. Our critical and essential workers continue to use that building as a depot to collect parts and support our customers. And then our people, I think, are the very best people in the market. And so we have here with a big smile, Shannon. She's on our team here in Reno. There's one of our larger production machines that we install. We put one in about 2 weeks ago. That machine is 8 feet tall and 35 feet long. It's bigger than some apartments. And so you get a scope of the kind of work that we do. And then there's Yosh. He's one of our account managers, and he's actually helping his customer with an install hands-on. And then we're proud. So I've lived in Reno for 30 years. I live in Spanish Springs. I have 3 daughters. My oldest daughter's in the master's program at UNR studying epidemiology. So imagine for a moment her career choice and how that looks right now today. To talk to her, it's very interesting. As a matter of fact, she's in the master's program, but the university hired her as one of the contact tracers that you're hearing about. And not only is she a contact tracer, but she's the one person on the team that does all the research and provides the statistics. And so it's pretty interesting. That picture right there. So we're also proud to support our community, right? It's a big deal. And Jim and myself, and those are my 2 daughters, over the April 10th weekend after spring break when school was going to start, you might remember this, but the Washoe County School District was really scrambling to get out workbooks for the kids because they were going to be in distance learning. And they didn't really know the full scope of the number of books they needed to provide. And it turned out to be an overwhelming project. And it involved mostly our customers. So the Washoe County School District Print Shop and Washoe County, the University of Nevada, the state printing services, and they still didn't have enough capacity to get all those workbooks done. So Jim and myself and my 2 daughters, who both are in high school at Spanish Springs, and they start Monday, by the way, which that's an experience all into itself. We went in on the weekend. We fired up 5 of our Xerox machines, and we printed, I think, somewhere north of 10,000 workbooks to get them to the school bus drivers by 2 o'clock on Sunday so they could get them to the kids for school on Monday. And that little effort netted us recognition from our customers who talked to Xerox Public Relations, who printed an article that went national. And that, I mean, that's pretty cool, right? The kids got to come to work with Dad, and we showed them how to use the machines. We made all the mistakes everybody made. We wasted a lot of paper. You know, we overheated a few of the machines. Like we really had an experience. So thought I would share that story with you. The theme of our presentation today is really make now work better. And it's a Xerox campaign. You can find that information on the Xerox website as well as on all the social media sites. But it's very relevant, and it comes on the heels of a survey that Xerox did just less than 3 months ago of 600 companies in all different vertical types of markets. They interviewed CIOs in detail about challenges and opportunities and what this environment looks like today and how it transitions in months coming. And so a part of what I'm going to share with you is what our experience looked like these last few months, and then where we're really going with this. And this can be interactive. We're welcome to answer any questions. I know I muted all you guys as we were going, but you're welcome to. Uh-oh, I did it now. Watch this. I can go back. So today's goal really is to share our transition experience with you and give you a glimpse inside our business, because we're a business just like you have a business and are in a business just like every other business. And I think our experiences are relevant because they also apply to the customers we support. We want to support the supportive technologies. And so I don't know if you watched the prelim video. I just want to say two things. One is the video Frank did, Dave, I did in one take. I wasn't in the studio for 15 minutes. And so I'm not saying the video is great. I'm just saying I wasn't going to do it twice. And I realized after I watched the video that I said cool 14 times. And it was like a subliminal thing about your NCET, you know, backstage pass to the coolest companies, right? So today I think we have some cool technology. You'll have to tell us when we're done. I'm not sure. So we want to provide a little bit of case study information. So we're going to give you a variety of the type of customers we support with these technologies, and we'll be open to answering any questions about that. But to see what's really relevant and applicable in the market today, we want to have a general productive discussion and share good information. And although I don't have the foghorn, I'm the let's have some fun guy, okay? Because we're going to be here for a little while. I think we could cut it up a little bit. So here's the agenda. Next, we'll talk about the Sierra experience. I'm going to show you an app that Xerox rolled out that's absolutely amazing, that they developed in less than 6 weeks to meet the needs of a hospital who was struggling with finding their people. Where are my people? Are my people working? What are the status of my people? So I'm going to review that app. Let's look at a couple of the stats around the future of work survey that Xerox did. It's really an industry-leading survey. They took the time and effort to really evaluate what's happening in the market. And then we're going to cover 3 specific elements of technology and business today. None of them are printers or copiers. They're enabling technology. So one is workflow automation. The other is the remote worker and support. There's marketing and digital communications, which might catch you by surprise, the kinds of things we're doing in this, and then we'll do a wrap up with the Q&A. So Dave, how am I doing?
I'll do the same thing. So look, the bird will
Dave, are you there?
The bird will lay his nest inside of here. So you just put this in here. Then you see a nest through the butterfly hole, and it's on the side.
That's Johnny's Ice Cream Emporium, and I can't mute him. So this is our new WebEx technology. Dave, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, are we doing good?
Yes, very good.
Okay, awesome. So early March, COVID hits, the state issues a shut-in, stay-at-home order, right? We start down the path of what we now know is this back-and-forth scenario of uncertainty, you know, in working in the business environment and working at all. And so I just put I coined a phrase up here that actually Xerox posted, which is kind of a demarcation date. And it says, and the app has even been deployed at a global scale for all Xerox employees. So that's kind of a remarkable day for us in our organization because it affects 20,000 Xerox employees worldwide. And that includes those of us right here in Reno, Nevada. So the transition for us, you know a little bit now about the makeup of what our facility looked like and our people. The transition for us is that sales, my entire sales team who's on the call today, customer service, our administration support here in Reno, our analysts, we have 2 remote analysts as part of a 6-person analyst team that work out of our Reno office. We were all moved to remote work at home, a remote work at home environment. And that looked like exactly what you would have thought. We packed up our monitor and our laptop and a couple of files and moved to our house and connected. And within just a couple of weeks, we realized we needed some more stuff. So we went back to the office and grabbed our chairs and everything else we needed and realized that we were going to be camping in for some time. And as a part of that, slowly but surely, we started to see what the technology component looked like. And Xerox moved very fast to be able to enable us to work better at home. And now remember, about 80% of our presentations, almost 90% of our customer interactions are all happening in the same format that we're in right now today. We're using the very WebEx account I'm using to communicate with people. Boy, what a difference. We can't walk in their office. We can't look around. We can't do our typical workflow assessment. We can't do our site survey, right? We need to be able to look at things like power, the computer network, the location of people, right? The location of printers. We can't do any of that. Now we're 100% virtual. Now go one step further and realize the people we're talking to aren't even in their office. They're faced with the same scenario we're faced with, which is they have to conduct business. They have needs that they need to get taken care of. They have problems they need to solve. And so we're communicating with these people in this exact same forum. It's really an eye-opener. So what did that rollout look like for us from a technology standpoint? The first thing that happened is we needed twice as many VPN licenses as we owned nationwide. So Xerox kicked into gear and upgraded the VPN network, put a security layer around it, and gave us the opportunity to have a more efficient and secure VPN connection so we could get to all of our files, which were stored either in the cloud securely or at our facilities. We got WebEx accounts almost immediately, and we have the enterprise version of WebEx, so we have unrestricted use for both phone and video and all the presentation tools, and we can host up to 1,000 participants on each of our accounts. And so they said, look, you guys need to do this, and we certified in WebEx. We had to pass, each one of us, a proficiency test in how to use WebEx. If we were going to have this tool, we need to know how to use it. We implemented DocuSign. So 100% of our sales orders now, almost 100%, are via DocuSign. Pretty powerful, something we used only once in a while before. Office 365 needed to be expanded, so we all had cloud access to email and all of our tools. We implemented Microsoft Teams. I hadn't even seen that product before, and it's evolving so fast right now, it's incredible. We use that a lot, and it will probably be a primary replacement for WebEx in very short order. Order packet automation. So we improved our order packet process, which is something Elisa will talk about in a little bit. But we can send a proposal. We can sign contracts and leases. We can sign, statement of work documents, have the customer send them back to us with DocuSign. It comes to me, I approve it. Once I've approved it, I send it to our admin. She's at her house. She goes through and processes the order. We get credit approval. Off it goes. We don't generate one piece of paper from the initial proposal all the way through the delivery of our solution. It's absolutely incredible. And only 4 months ago, everything we did printed out of one of our Xerox machines. And today, nothing prints out of that. Pretty staggering. Remote education and marketing tool. Xerox released a proprietary product for us that we use on our laptops, tablets, and phones that allows us to generate marketing collateral on all of our solutions, including sending interactive emails and videos, and track progress of that correspondence. We send proposals and can do proposals out of that tool. And they loaded in less than 60 days 100% of all of the content that Xerox owns into that tool. Pretty impressive. So any technical specification guides, any workflow videos, anything that we might need, descriptions of features, user guides and manuals, 100% they put into that tool and made it available to us. Same process, we had to test and certify in that tool before we could continue to use it. So each one of us has a license. And then there's the team availability app. So I'm going to stop sharing for a minute. I'm going to move over here. Yes, I'm looking around. Don't laugh at me, Elisa. Trying to find my content. There it is. You guys see that? So a part of Xerox's support for us, and so now remember, we are Sierra Office Solutions. We also are Xerox. We're Xerox employees. Xerox went through an extensive COVID-19 training and certification. Does this show up? Thanks, Elisa. You see path forward? So all of us were trained twice and certified in health and safety precautions and protocols applicable to our job. That's the first thing that happened. And those documents are all published and available from a compliance standpoint for those government and high security and healthcare type customers that we deal with. In addition to that, we have 2 questions that we ask every prospective customer or customer that we go to. We have 2 questions that we ask before we go on site. Number 1 is, has your business or facility reported an incident of COVID and or any other sickness? Question number 1. If the answer is yes, we have to move past that and ask 2nd and 3rd level questions. We are not allowed to go into a facility that's reported a COVID case in the last 14 days. And there's also questions around what kind of facility precautions have been taken after that COVID case was caught. Question number 2 is, hey, do you have any special protocols that we need to be aware of before we come into the facility? So in some cases, we have customers that require a background check. They might require a temperature assessment. They might ask us questions or have us fill out a survey as to whether or not we've been sick in the last 14 days. So those 2 questions are standard in what we do. And it just makes good business sense and frankly, good people sense to follow those standards. So now I'm going to go one step further and I'm going to show you the team app. So Xerox developed an app for a hospital in a very short period of time. The hospital needed to know, since their people were coming and going, right, during this COVID situation, where the heck they are. So after we rolled it out for this hospital, we made a few changes to it and made the product available for our customers. And we also implemented it for ourselves, 27,000 Xerox employees. And what we do is each day, so I'm going to go into my status. So that's the 12th today, right? Each one of us as an employee of Xerox logs in the morning and makes an attestment that you're not sick and whether or not you're working remotely or going out to a customer site or one of our offices. Some of our offices are open, some are closed. And you'll notice in this one, I'm working remotely. It's August 12th. I'm at home, right? There's other choices in here. I simply click update and now my status is updated for Xerox. So we have safety compliance officers within our organization that check this every morning. Are you on vacation? Are you working remotely? Are you in an office? Or did you not report? And if you didn't report, then we send an email and then make a phone call to find out what's happening. The other thing is, as a manager, I have a status report that shows me my entire team. And that's what this is. So you'll see that there's 8 users, 5 are at home, right? 2 are in Reno, 1 is in Sacramento reporting. And I can scroll through down here and see what their attestment is. And if somebody were sick and out for 14 days, I would know that. And so I think that was pretty impressive that Xerox was able to come up with an application like this and allow it to run on such a widespread basis. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing there, and I'm going to share content. Go back to my Xerox slide. So that is really a summary of what our experiences have been. And so now I'm going to take you through just briefly, and I can make the survey available to you. The survey's on the Xerox website. I'll go through this. So I'm getting texted and chatted at the same time. Sorry about that. This is just a couple of highlights of the results from those survey questions. So 72% of organizations weren't fully prepared to transition to random work. I don't think that would surprise to remote work. I don't think that would surprise anybody on this call, but this is a validation. 29% said the biggest pain point, right, experienced during the remote work period was really technology. I mean, probably all of us on this call would agree with that. That's really the biggest pain point. You have to be set up to work efficiently. 35% cited inadequate IT support as a challenge. So if your company didn't have an IT help desk or an outsourced provider that had a help desk, and you moved 20 people out to their homes, and all of a sudden now you're trying to do Windows Update, you're trying to set up the VPN, you're having issues, right? I think that's pretty legitimate. And then 85% missed the accessibility of the use of office printers. Now, how specific is that, right? It's like I missed my printer because it was all set up before. So our theme today is what we talked about, make now work, right? And the planning for the future of now. So 82% of the employees in these companies are estimated to return to the workplace in 12 to 18 months. That's a staggering number for what we're talking about. And that really is a question mark that I think all of us were wondering, like, what happens next? Well, these companies and these executives were telling us 82% of people will return to work. 58% plan to change their work from home policy. I mean, it's happening in our company already. A large percentage of people are going to continue to work at home or work in a hybrid mode. Totally can see that. So that means what we do today should be planning for the future. 34% are expediting their digital transformation. So we'll talk about some of those technologies. And 40% plan to use an increased budget. Short story with that, they're going to have to budget more money to buy the right technology, and buy the right technology one time instead of putting pieces together a little bit at a time. So, okay, we finished segment one. I knew I might be a little long-winded, so I hope you'll excuse me for that. I can unmute and we can go through a few questions before we make the next transition. Unmute all. Ooh, we got everybody now. So John and Dave and Marie, I hope that was insightful into a portion of what we've gone through to get us to where we are today. I don't know if you have any questions or you'd like us to continue. Looks like we're good. All right. I'm muting all. I'm sharing content. And the next segment that we're going to go through is workflow automation. What is it? How does it apply? Why is it important in today's market? And with that, I'd like to introduce one of our Reno team members, the amazing Elisa Bennett.
Hey, I like that title. I'm going to add that to my business card. It'll be the amazing Elisa Bennett. Hi, everybody. As Steve said, I'm Elisa. I am the solutions specialist at Sierra. I've been here for 6 years and, or just about 6 years. It'll be 6 years in October. I have been in the industry for 13 years. Can't believe that, but never thought I tried getting out and got back in, and yeah, just kind of keeps me, and keeps me, you know, it just does not let go. Anyway, so I live in Verdi with my husband and 2 out of our 4 kids, but tonight I come live from a hotel room because that's where you got to go to get peace and quiet these days. Anyway, so my role as a solutions specialist is to support our territory managers and their customers in evaluating the unique challenges in their businesses or even a specific department, and then provide a roadmap to help achieve those goals with any of our many offerings that we have. So Steve, you want to click to the next slide? So as I was preparing for this presentation, I started thinking about the businesses that I've talked to over the last 6 months, because the last 6 months have been unprecedented. And the problems I've been seeing and some of the ways that we've been helping them. And I can honestly say that I have been having discussions and we have implemented workflows around automation processes with all kinds of businesses. We've construction companies, medical billing, manufacturers, community management companies, logistics companies, auto dealerships, casinos, and which is crazy in this time, and then even government. And the list just continues to go on. The businesses are varying, but a lot of the problems don't, especially during this craziness that we're in right now. People are trying to find ways to accommodate a new hybrid type of work environment. I'm going to go to the next slide, Steve. I got my Vanna White here. So some of the ways that we've been able to help our customers, some of the other challenges that we've seen, sorry, wrong slide, have been increase in volume as well as the variety of the data and content. Unstructured digital information that is inaccessible, so it lacks metadata or the description of a document. Unclassified, it could be siloed. There's competitive pressure to drive a faster business process. They might have a need to be more responsive and customer-centric. There's rising costs to storage and facilities for paper archives. And then you've got regulatory pressures requiring security and control by those governing bodies. There's a high demand for easy access and then easy to consume content for your mobile workforce. And then you've got mail coming in and into the office, and yet there's no one there to process it. You've got faxes coming in and there's no one there to receive them, or you're working remotely and now all of a sudden you don't have the ability to send or receive those faxes. It's also been difficult to find and use information in paper archives. And then there's also information that can be lost. You've got lost, well, shoot, right now it could be next month. Let's see, it's August of 2020. We could be having the aliens come down and it's going to shut everything down, and then we're going to lose our data that way and those documents that way, you know. But no, seriously, you know, it could be lost by fire or flood or misplacing an important document, you know, when somebody's filing it. And then next slide, Steve, please, and thank you. There we go. So how have we been helping some of the businesses? We've been helping them by providing access to content and the data that powers those business critical workflows, and the automation that goes behind them to make complex processes less resource intensive. So specifically, we've been able to help enable information to be available anywhere at any time. We've been able to speed up processing time of paper documents, improve the accuracy of information that's delivered downstream, and it avoids errors, or wrong delivery, or even the issue of having to rework a document or a project. And then we can help reduce costs such as human labor, floor space. That one's a big one lately. I've had a lot of customers recently that are actually wanting to do back file scanning because of the real estate cost of storing, having all your documents in a room. That space can be utilized for your customers, or it could be utilized to rent out. The other thing too is there's also a lot of management and that comes with those paper documents, and having to have them, where are you storing them, and then how are you getting those files, et cetera. We've also been able to reduce manual intervention, processing errors, some redundant tasks, and those associated costs with that as well. We can enable fax capability without even having a fax machine. I've been able to work with a customer recently where I automated their entire workflow that was completely analog, so it's totally paper. And she basically told me what the process was. We walked through it, and then I automated it from receiving to editing documents, faxing documents, signing documents. And I don't mean with DocuSign, because they needed to see a wet signature, where DocuSign is clearly a digital signature. So we were able to create stamps around their signatures so they could actually utilize that, and it would look like a wet signature. And so those documents were accepted that way. We've been able to allow for secure, auditable ways to transport documents, complete audit trails for security and compliance, such as like HIPAA, SOX, et cetera. So how does some of this stuff work? It's actually pretty easy. We can capture, digitize, automate, manage, and then access. So we capture information from multiple sources, hard copy, email. You can capture it from a web portal if you're pulling in documents that way. So you're capturing, and then you're going to digitize that information to feed into your business processes, and then automate some of those repetitive tasks, such as accounts payable, some HR workflows, filling out forms, and that will integrate with your ERPs or your CRMs or other third-party type systems. And then we can manage that storage, retrieval, and retention of those documents and encrypted data. Basically, then we can make all of this information, which is so cool. This is where I start to get a little geeked out, and I apologize. That, we're able to make all this information, on demand, where it's needed, when it's needed, including on your mobile devices. Now your mobile phones and your tablets are actually becoming a bigger player in your ability to work. Next slide, Steve.
So Elisa,
yeah.
Elisa, if I can interject for a minute. So what you just described is an office much like our office, where we were previously printing and moving documents around in a large part in a paper format, and where we literally had to move out of the building and work remotely, and now needed to move those same documents around from a digital format without the paper, right? And from a faxing standpoint, what you're talking about is when you say analog fax, that's fax pages coming into fax machines in an office, but there's nobody there to pick up the paper, right? So we incorporated into that same workflow. Is that correct?
Absolutely. So we can actually get them into a digital workflow with the fax, as well as allowing them to, same solution can allow for send secure of larger documents and having that audit trail. So you kind of get 2 for 1. And then and the nice thing is you don't have to have a printer in order to do that. So I can now fax documents from my home office, and I don't have a printer. I don't have an MFP, and I don't have a fax number. So that's something that's huge to the mobility of a lot of workers these days. Even though fax seems to be archaic in some people's minds, it's not. There's certain business processes that it's important for, such as like HR. HR is a big one. Finance is a big one, because there's actually documents they can guarantee that once they've sent it, that it's out of my hands now because it's now in that phone line. What happens to the document on the other end is now no longer my responsibility. So so now there's that piece of it. And that with the automation of those kind of workflows, there's audit trails, et cetera.
Okay.
So moving forward, or did you have more?
Nope, we're moving forward. Thank you, Elisa.
No problem. So we've helped many local business automate their processes and allow them to be more agile during this time that we're in, and even prior to that. I've helped like I said a little bit earlier, I helped a logistics company that took that analog process and turned it completely digital, allowing them to actually have a more hybrid work environment. The problem was, it was very analog, paper heavy. They actually had to print a document, handwrite it, send it in by fax, or scan it in to send in by email. And then when they got that back by email, they had to print it out and then put their specific stamp with their specific verbiage on it, and then get it over to the customer, so they would scan it back in or fax it to the customer. And we were able to automate that entire workflow, including the signatures and their customized stamps and the faxing, and then give them a place to store those documents. And then now their accounts payable could process those orders more quickly because they're stored in the cloud as well. So there was actually a full workflow to that. But anyway, so with that, I'm going to show you a little of one of the workflows that we do, and we do frequently. This is an accounts payable workflow, which gives a little example of a process that every business will do. And basically, this type of workflow can cut an AP process in half, and then allowing the businesses to process more invoices without having to hire additional employees. And then again, like I mentioned earlier, you're also enabling that mobile approval, which allows businesses on the accounting side, it'll allow the businesses to take advantage of the early pay discount. So I'm going to share my screen really quick. And I'm getting the circle of death for a second. Okay, there we go. Okay, can you see my screen? Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. So I'm going to go in here really quick. So let me go over here. I'm just grabbing in. All I did is basically pull up some invoices. And I'm Sally, I'm an employee, and I work in AP, and I need to process some invoices. And so I'm going to just log in really quick, get my papers out of the way. And then, so this is one of many of the software solutions that we offer. This is a cloud-based document management system. And this particular workflow, so you can actually do a couple of different things. It's going to take a little longer than it would typically take because I'm going to show you. But you can actually bring in a document by manually going in and clicking and say, okay, I want to add a document here. and then you can browse your computer and bring it in. But that's way too timely. So I'm just going to go to Capture, and over here are my documents, and I'm just going to drag in this invoice from Mega Tree Company. And then as you can see, there's this, it says down here, not started. And that not started is a reference to the OCR of a document, which is optical character recognition, and it converts a document to a searchable text. So if I click out here, you can see it's already starting to pop up, but it's refreshing. So now it's still in process. I'll go back. I'm talking this. Okay, so now here it says it's completed. I click on this document. You can see the document to the right. There you go. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to click on that document. And as you can see, here's my invoice. So I need to zoom in because I'm a little bit blind and I don't have two computer screens to work off tonight. So over to the right is my invoice. Over to the left are a bunch of fields with information. Right here, you can see document type. If I click on what we call business invoice or bus invoice on literally, all of a sudden the information that I'm required is different. So this is all the metadata that's required for this document. You can put in as little or as much information that you want from this document. So I'm going to go ahead, I can keep the title as it is, but I'm going to take the PDF part off. I can add information, keywords. I can do a description of the document if I want it. Again, these are all things that are making this document searchable. So at a later date, if I wanted to come in and look for this document, but I didn't necessarily know all the information or where to go to find it, I could just start typing in kind of like a Google search, but on a more refined scale. So if I scroll down here, I'm going to go invoice number. And if I click over here, zoom it in just a smidge, I'm going to click invoice number. And then now it's asking for my PO number. Let's see where my PO number is on this. Okay, where did I put it? See, I made a sample invoice and forgot to put my PO on it. So I'll just add a PO. Typically there is a PO, so I'm just going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If there is any other information, I can do the vendor name, so it'd be Mega Tree Company. Oops. If there's a phone number, the invoice amount, I can scroll down here to the right and see it's for a total of $9,000. And this is what happens when it doesn't like the information that it. So you can just go ahead and verify $934.50. If I want to put the invoice date, I can. Now I can choose related files. Those related files are like the PO. So I'm going to search for Mega. And there's the invoice, there's the PO. So now what I'm doing in the AP process, I'm now matching the invoice with a PO that was created. So it's easy for us to receive those items, those goods, and then pay that bill. So along with that, I can add an expiration date for a document. This can be done for a specific document. If I did it here, that would be for this specific document. But in a lot of business cases, they just want to keep files for a certain amount of time. So say, for example, I want to keep invoices for 10 years. We can actually put a rule around a folder. And so any document that comes in there is only kept for 10 years from when that document is brought into that folder. So 10 years in 1 day, you're being notified that there are documents that you can delete. So, so if you want to add well, I don't want it. Let's do it for future. So we're going to do 2023. There we go. And then now I'm going to save this to my pending because this invoice is over $1,000. I need my CFO to approve it. So now I've sent it over there and get this screen out and hit save. So now my PO is gone and it's gone over to be approved. I'm going to log out. And now I'm Charlie, I'm the CFO, and I'm working from home today. And I check my emails and I get a notification that I've got a task. So I can go in and click on that and now log in. Come on. Doesn't like me tonight. There we go. So, and it takes me directly to my task at hand. So now I can see the invoice that has come in. I can see what the dollar amount is. I can see what it's for. I can see any information on this document. I'm going to zoom back out. So what I can also do now is if I want to, I can approve it and put a stamp on it. I can highlight information. You know, is this address correct? I can question something. Is this the right invoice, et cetera. So you can actually annotate and have these annotations onto this document, and then I can save it. And then I can also, and then you can actually burn it into the document. So you can save it so it's a layer on the document, but then you can also what's called burn it, which is actually burn it into the document so that approval stamp or that annotation can't be removed, or maybe if the information that you're redacting, so maybe you're taking out somebody's personal information. So now I can look here and I can see, okay, yep, everything looks good. If there's any comments, I can look to see what the related documents are. I can look at the PO. I'm going to go ahead and approve it, or I can reject it if I really want to. So in this workflow, we've made it so you actually have to put a justification for the approval. So because I said so, and then approve. It's done and it's closed, and now I don't have any more tasks. So now you can see how quickly, you know, I can take advantage of the early payments of accounting and those benefits when you've got your invoices coming in, but also it expedites that accounts payable processes. Now, if I'm Sally and I want to see if Charlie's finished, I can go in, and if he's approved it, then I can go back into my folder and I can see approved. And Mega Tree Farm is down here. So I can see that he approved it. And then I can see that it was approved by him. I can check like the history. I can see where it's at in the workflow. So maybe he hadn't, maybe it was just created. I can see that it was created, but he hadn't approved it yet. So do you have any questions?
Elisa, that was very good. Thank you. This application is an application that's cloud-based. So all workers within an accounting department or anybody in the accounts payable, accounts receivable process can be included and collaborate in this workflow, including Elisa, right? Tablet, I can approve from my iPhone or mobile phone.
Yep.
If I'm a construction company and I'm in the field, we just did an application for a large underground contractor here in Reno, and they approved change orders on the job site using their iPad and launched the process back to the office immediately so they can pull the cost of goods out of that change order and place the order. So thank you very much, Elisa. That was awesome.
I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing.
I'm going to put our slide back up here. We had a discussion point. You guys see that remote worker screen?
Yes.
Awesome. So what we've talked about now is sort of the automation process and setting employees up who are working both in the office and remotely. And one of the big questions that came back from our customers is really around, hey, okay, so now I have all my employees home. How do I know if they have the right equipment, if they can operate at a high speed? Is their internet secure using home internet? Do they have the right laptop and software applications? Those questions were coming to us, and we were fortunate this year to be able to launch Xerox IT services in Nevada in February, just before COVID. And what a better time. So Xerox has been in the IT business for more than 20 years. We have 300 employees across the U.S. and 4 full-time call centers, remote operating centers that are working to support customers. And so with that, I'd like to introduce Paul Nugent, who's going to give us sort of a brief overview on some of the things that we've been providing to companies both in and out of the office. Paul.
Thank you, Steve. And before I get started, everybody, I just want to introduce myself. Good evening. As Steve said, my name is Paul Nugent. I'm the Information Technology Account Manager for Nevada. I have 30 years in the computer industry, and I started my career managing data centers, and then did some time in product marketing, moved to channel sales, and now here I am doing technology sales for Xerox. I also have with us Davis Zerpolo. He's our pre-sales engineer, and he comes along and backs me up and makes sure that if the technical questions get too deep, he's there to bail me out. So feel free to try to stump him. Sorry, Davis. So I'm going to kind of follow on what Steve was saying about the remote worker package. One of the slides that Steve had, he said 72% of people were not ready to go remote. I didn't even know that number until this week. We started this because we noticed that a lot of people just weren't ready. It was very obvious. So we've done some things, and we put this package together, and we can, if you need computers remote, we can ship them to people's homes. It's just a standard, whatever you desire. There's no set product or anything. You just, if you need it, we can get it there. It's the same thing for printers. If you know, I think Steve was saying 85% needed their printer. Well, we can cure that right now. The good news is we can also do asset tagging for you and take care of all of that and image it. So imaging is a big thing. A lot of companies want their logos and their configuration all set and ready to go. But the cool part, and I'm going to borrow that word from Steve, the cool part is we can also set up online collaboration tools. This is SharePoint or Microsoft Teams, that kind of stuff. We can set that up for people to help them maintain their efficiency, and their overall team can still work together. The other cool point is, and this is a good differentiator, is we can provide support. So we have help desk support. How many times do people, I can't get on, my computer won't boot, or something's happening, I have the gray screen of death. This is where this package comes in. We can jump in right away and help everybody.
Ready?
Yeah, on the next slide. The other thing I wanted to show is not only, so we talked a little bit about the tools for desktops and laptops and things of that. And you can see in the bottom left-hand corner here on our bottom floor, we carry all of the main vendors, all of the main equipment. And we just listed 3 here. This is not an inclusive list. This is just a good example. Dell, Lenovo, HP, but we also have Acer and Samsung. And just about anything you want to have, we source from all of the major vendors and all of the major distributors. Whoops, not so quick. But in addition to that, we have a full gamut of different products that we can help you with and the different services we can help you with. Where we really excel is in the managed IT. So if you have an IT department that can't come into work, or that you just need somebody to help take over or help them. We have managed IT, and we have multiple levels, starting with a low level just help desk where we can sell actual hours, versus we'll come in and manage the whole thing for you for any length of time that you feel fit. We also have, handfuls, I'd say hundreds of engineers available. So if you need to build in some automation or help develop some apps to help your efficiency, we have engineers nationwide that can help with that. And we call on them, probably 3, 4, 5 times a week, call on these people to add support, whether that's to set up some of that online collaboration or maybe to set up your Wi-Fi. They'll come in and do like whole site mapping, heat mapping of where your Wi-Fi hotspots are. It's really whatever you need computer-wise, we have people that can do it for you. Next slide. One of the things we also found that a lot of people were not ready network-wise or security-wise to go remote. And one of the things that we started doing for everybody was a network performance and security assessment, free of charge. We do this for you just to do it for you. It's a couple of $1,000 value, but we think it really helps everybody. We can go in and do a scan on your entire network, and we'll be able to tell if you have any access holes or access point issues, if you have accounts that are unused and left open, maybe from a past employee. We can tell if people are following the password guidelines that you have set. We can look and see if you have missed security patches for your OSs. So it really goes in and finds those possible access loopholes, and we generate a report for you, and it's yours to do with as you please. It's just very good. And what we do is, you can see on these two wedge-looking charts, we compare your score. We have a little rating system to a national average, and we rate your risk. So as you see on this one, this person has a risk of 97. That's a high risk. That means he's got some gaping holes in his network. Same with his security, a little bit better, but still it's in the high end. So we have found that most of these high risk items are easy fixes. It's just stuff you've been too busy to take care of. And we can point those out to you so you can get them taken care of. We can take care of them for you. It's all up to you. But again, it's compared to a national average. What we look at on the slide is, or on this report, and it's actually about a 20-page report. It takes us, I'd say, an hour for the most part to scan and run. Sometimes it takes 2, depending on your environment. But then it mails us back all the raw data. We crunch it, throw it into this nice 20-page report, and it breaks it out for you by individual computer and network, and kind of points out all the holes. We will even look on the dark web to see if your email and passwords are out there. And we do find them, just so you know. We found one last week on one company that had it. So it's good stuff to know. If you've got password violations and you've got your email out on the dark web, it's very valuable to know. How am I doing for time, Steve?
You're doing great. So cool factor. Tell us about this.
Oh, so this is the cool fact. So a lot of people are coming back to work or in between, where they have different shifts or different people on different days, or maybe a skeleton crew coming in from day to day. And we found there was a big need for temperature scanners, thermal scanners. I talked with one company that has got somebody out there with a thermometer and takes somebody's temperature and dips it in alcohol and takes the next person's. They do that 50 times a day, and they were looking for something a little more substantial. So we can cover, the low end, which is the gun where you walk in the door and you can take their temperature, up to this unit, which does an awful lot. The cool factor on this is it can scan a person about 1 to 2 seconds and tell if they have a temperature or not. It also can do double duty and monitor other things like moisture content. If you put it in a basement or something and have moisture issues, we can watch that. It can do motion sensitive security as well. So it's really kind of a cool thing. But for the thermal stuff, Steve, if you look at the next slide, This is kind of what you would see if you were managing the console from this unit. The lady on the left, on the kind of black screen, you can see the little crosshairs. It's zeroing in on her tear ducts. And in about 1 second, it will take her temperature and flag for anybody you want, anybody in your organization, whether or not she has a temperature. It can also tell whether she's an employee through the facial recognition or a guest. It can also look in and see if she's on some terrorist watch list or maybe some other kind of watch list, or maybe some sales rep you don't want to have come in anymore or something, right? We can check that whole list for you. Well, can you go back one, Steve?
Oh, yeah.
All right. So the picture on the right, we can see where this lady in brown has got a full coat, a hood, a mask. She's wearing gloves, long skirt, jacket, and carrying a blanket. Yet we were able, on the blue, you can see the crosshairs on her neck. We were able to get her temperature as she's walking. Takes 1 second. She walks by, boom, we can get her temperature. And we can get that whether she's coming or going. It doesn't really matter. These things are great for, can you imagine like in an airport with all the people zipping by, getting their luggage and whatever, we can be zapping, the temperature for everybody very quick, or even a school classroom or a lunchroom. The good thing about these units is they also do occupancy monitoring. So if you have a conference room or you're running a conference, if this was on the inside in a building, you could control the number of people and take their temperature as they came in and out. So it's very good for that type of thing. Now we can go next. The other good news is since it uses facial recognition to determine, where to take the temperature of a person, it can't ignore things like hot coffee or if you're carrying a hot meal. It would not flag this person as having a high temperature based on the cup of coffee he's carrying. Next slide is good. Moving away from that, the other thing that we're seeing a lot of demand for is workplace collaboration. So by that, I mean smart boards and I don't know if any of you guys are using smart boards, but the smart boards allow you, if you have 4 or 5 people in a conference room and you need to have 10 or so people, but they're all working out of the house, they can log in and you can actually have a conference room. It comes with a camera, it's wireless. You can hook other cameras to it. You can run some, different models have different attributes, but you can hook a laptop to it, display data, multiple screens. So some of our slides in here, sometimes they're a little bit hard to see. You can blow them up. You can write on this. It's a fairly handy piece. A lot of schools have been putting these in when they have the budget. They like to put them in classrooms and conference rooms for different work environments have them as well.
Paul, that's fantastic. So the storyline of where we've come is we talked about how to enable information to move around through businesses without having to have it be paper. We talked about how to support the remote worker, right? And now we're talking about how do we support businesses returning to the office, right, with some of the technologies that we have, and also how to secure your network and provide all the peripheral pieces. And Paul, that was really exceptional. And so unless you stop me, I'll head to the last segment that we have, which is now that this is all put together, how do we communicate both internally, externally, market, and really ramp up our business? And so this is kind of an exciting segment. I'd like to introduce our account manager, Jim Mcintosh from Reno here. And so with that, Jim, I'll let you introduce yourself and take us away.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Thanks for taking the time out to be with us tonight. It's really great. I know you're probably taking time away from your family and eating a late dinner, so thank you so much for giving us your time. I cover and deal with focusing on our digital marketing and production here in Nevada. I live out in Spanish Springs, and this is a snapshot of why I do what I do. My daughter and my son and my wife. So yeah, I have them up there with me, and they're just in the other room running around doing something. So if we're here to talk about a very cool piece of technology that is proprietary to Xerox. If you want to go to the next slide, Steve.
So Jim, that is cool. That is the cool slide.
So really, we're just going to define a few things here. So really, this idea of omnichannel, it's one view to the customer, right? It incorporates, print, digital. We want to deliver multi-channel communications to our target audience that are relevant. So they're always changing and specific and consistent to what people are wanting to see. And we can narrow that down granular to the individual, not just a small niche market, but really an individual can dictate, what they want to see based on using this platform. If you want to go next, Steve. Click one more time. So here are XMPIs. Who's using XMPI today? There's thousands and thousands of people using this software all over the world, and it's not just large marketing and digital printing companies. We have public sector, education, retail. Vistaprint, I think, is probably something you guys may have heard of before. State Farm, Allstate Insurance, Target, Nordstrom. So you can see that there's a lot of large companies, but it's not something that's not attainable. We have companies that are 1 to 2 employees using this technology to grow their business and to grow their outreach to their customer base or their audience or whoever they want to communicate with. Next slide, Steve. The great part about this product is it is a true open architecture with open APIs, so we can access data that you already have from wherever you're housing it. We don't need to, reinvent the wheel of where to pull our data from or where to add to your website, right? It's very open. It's very easy to work with from an architectural standpoint, and our products really work together. So it's also built on the Adobe platform, which everybody in marketing knows the Adobe platform from its Indesign platform, right? So everything that you're using inside Indesign, if you're using it today, it will translate over very easily to XMPI. So you're going to have to click through a few of them there, Steve. So you can personalize images, you can use video-driven data in your After Effects, and then you can harness the InDesign server for the capabilities and housing your templates for marketing there. You want to go next? One of the great pieces of technology that's incorporated on this platform is called Circle. It is a digital storyboard, collaboration, automation, and evaluation tool that we use to run all of our campaigns, right, on XMPI. So you can do everything from design, launch the campaign, it'll manage it for you, and then it'll actually give you metrics of how the campaign is going. So how many people are opening your emails, how many went to the next step, what kind of print is being driven out of this. And really what we're seeing with XMPI is that it's driving a lot of print business, and it's very specific and targeted to people. So next, what I'm going to do is we actually have Don Gulcher, who is our product specialist for the whole West Coast for XMPI, and he's going to show you a brief snippet of just some of the very cool things that XMPI can do. Don, I'll let you take it from here. If we can hear you.
Unmute myself.
There you go.
Okay, got to unmute myself. Yes, okay, I'm here. Hey, it's Don Gulcher, and I'm with XMPI. And actually, I started my Xerox career about 30 years ago, and I've been with XMPI now for about 7. So looking forward to providing you some information regarding the things we do with our technology and moving from there. So, what is XMPI? It really offers a very innovative platform for engaging and delivering one-to-one multi-channel communications across print and also digital media channels. And we want to make sure that they're personally relevant and also very creative and engaging as well. And we help our clients by leveraging their data to deliver a consistent brand message across all these different touch points that can build trust and also boost loyalty across the entire customer lifecycle, right? And so what companies are doing today, of course, they're trying to acquire new customers and, of course, retain the existing ones they have as well. And so really look at these different stages of what people do, right, from the perspective of, it's awareness, right, stages to go through, evaluation, purchase, usage, right, repurchase, and advocacy as well. So when you look at, like maybe the first step of actually looking at some an idea of actually promoting your product and that type of thing, we can maybe the initial touch point is through a website, right? For example. And so, for example, here I've got a maybe it's a special website that in this case is for a fictitious copy company, right? Talks about hey, the different things that they do. They sell different beans and machines and that type of thing as well. And with this, you can essentially personalize the experience is the idea, right? So you can see that the home office is actually based in New York. I'll click on get in touch, for example. What this will then do is give the ability to go through and then personalize the experience as well. So let me go ahead and show you how this works. It's kind of cool how this is all set up. So give me 1 second here. There we go. That's what you can do is you can actually go through and you can fill out a form, right, which actually puts the person's name on it, right, and gives them the ability to go ahead and personalize the experience. So this is like maybe the generic site. Then I can actually look at the personalization. So after they actually go to the website, it then personalizes the experience for them. So in this case, you see Joseph's name as well as Mary, maybe the type of machine they're looking for, and also what location they're at as well, right? To kind of give you some examples of how that's set up. What we can also do is automatically send them a personalized email, right, to again continue that conversation with that customer, and also provide them a personalized brochure, right, based on what information they were looking for, that type of thing as well. And what we do is as Jim mentioned before, we're fully leveraging the Adobe suite, right? So this starts out as an InDesign document. And we know that InDesign is something probably you're using in your marketing departments today, right, as far as creating content. What we can do is really take any element inside InDesign and make that a reusable object is the idea, right? So just an example of how you can utilize our technology to not only to personalize the web, but also the print pieces as well as emails and again that interaction as well. So from a baseline, when you look at our technology, how this is all set up, you can do some really cool things, right? So here's an example of maybe a personalized catalog that we're actually using the tool for, right? So the things you can make personalized, of course, be like text and graphics and tables, even text files and turning layers on and off. So for this example, you can see as I go through my different records, you'll see the information change. The designer never has to leave the design experience, which is really the big benefit. And then, of course, you can see that, in this case, maybe Aisha purchased maybe it's sunglasses in the past, right, that type of thing, right? But then you can also see there's a way in which you can actually interact with a website to actually take it to the next level as well. So if she clicks on this QR code and goes to a website, then you'll see that actually she can go through and see what that experience is going to look like. In this case, she goes to the website, clicks on the link, and now we're going to personalize the experience for her. And again, knowing what we know about her, that she bought sunglasses in the past, and she spends $75 by the end of August, she'll get $30 off, right? We can automatically put that product in the cart and away you go. And what we're talking about here is actually a way to be able to, as Jim mentioned, a way to be able to have an electronic storyboard. We can actually manage all the different touch points and how these work together, right? Here's a printed piece, here's the website, here's a shopping cart, right? Maybe send them an additional postcard, right? If they abandon the shopping cart, that's happening as well. So just some examples on that piece. We can also take it to the next level. We're doing also some other cool things, including even like maybe an offers and promotion type campaign as well. In this case, we're actually going to be doing a personalized video. And the way this can be set up is maybe it's initially set up as an email that leads them to a website, right? And then in this case, we can actually see a personalized video, right? And to show the variability, I'll show it all at the same time, right? So here you can see that with this, we have Mary, David, Susan, and Jonathan. And we know that Mary, David, and Jonathan are all coffee drinkers, but Susan, she's actually a tea drinker. So based on what we know about the person, we're going to change the image to a cup of tea instead, right? And this is more of a retention campaign, right, or an upsell campaign. So what we're doing here is to say, hey, if you go ahead and subscribe for automatic renewals, then we're going to go ahead and give you a certain percentage off as far as that's concerned, right? So we probably know what kind of packaging they like and what type of their flavors are and that type of thing as well. So we have, just like we have a plugin for InDesign, we even have a plugin for After Effects as well, which again is part of the Adobe Creative Suite, right? About providing these really cool ways to, again, make this part of the experience. Okay. So on that, looking at that note, you think about what people are doing in the market today. One thing that we of course, with the pandemic that's going on, here's one of our customers actually based in Idaho, right, University of Idaho, that actually did a virtual graduation. And let me kind of show you an example of what they did, right? Take that next level as far as how they can actually personalize the experience. So they sent emails out to all the graduates, and this is the content that they provided. So again, just an example of how you can utilize our tools to essentially be able to do those really cool effects as well, even with video, right? So when you think about what we can also do is we can actually set up different marketing portals where people can actually go and they can take these different templates and you can actually, order different campaigns, whether it's going to be for a printed piece, it's an email campaign, those types of things as well. So here's an example of actually a storefront that we're working with here. And of course, we support all the different languages and things that are set up as well, as far as like, different localities. And we're actually in 100 different countries, right? So we support all the different things that are out there. So we go ahead and log in. And with this, you can see we can have lots of different things we can serve up as far as content's concerned. And so with this, you can see that we have the ability to go through and serve up different campaigns, including this ability to actually go and do, of course, packaging and even email campaigns. And here's actually one that we're doing like a new branch opening, right, as well. And so I'll click on this one. And this is kind of a neat thing. We can go through and again, personalize the experience, right? And so with this was a new branch opening that's taking place. And it's an interaction of multiple pieces. We have a two-sided postcard that's being sent out. We also have a web interaction, also a mobile interaction, and also even like a ticket that's being generated as well as part of the experience, right? And so what we're doing is we're taking that circle campaign and serving it up actually through the storefront to provide that interaction as well. And so what we have here is the ability to go through and you can see all these different live links that we're talking about, right? So let me go ahead and click on continue. What I can do now is actually then personalize the invite, right? And so with this, I can go through and put in an address. So I'll go ahead and put the Sierra office address in. It's actually checking with Google to make sure that's exactly the same one as well, right? I'll make sure it's a valid address. I can say when the grand opening is going to be. Say maybe it's on the 21st of October. It's going to start at 10 o'clock and it's going to go until say 5 o'clock, right? That type of thing. And then what I can do is actually click on each of these different touch points to see what is that preview going to look like. And so in this case, we're going out and we're using the Adobe InDesign server, taking that template, providing a sample recipient, and showing exactly what it's going to look like on the screen for the person ordering this campaign through the storefront, right? And so with this, you can see we've got a two-sided postcard that's set up where, Kirby, we're looking forward to seeing at the grand opening. Here's the date and time, of course. We're also even pulling in a dynamic map. So here's actually the map for the Sierra office location. And we also customized a QR code as well. And all that Kirby has to do is click on the link. And now we're actually going through a website, which actually now personalizing the web experience as well, right? So you can kind of see what's going through and setting this all up as far as how that's all set up. Well, maybe I got the address wrong. It actually showed Buffalo instead of Reno. But anyway, you get the idea. So with this one, you can see that we also have, we personalized the web form as well, right? And maybe here's the location, right, as well. So what we can do is I can click on count me in. We then also, create a thank you page as well. And with this also, we can even download an admission ticket. So I'll click on this one. And now you can see that we've actually got a PDF file that actually the person can put on their mobile device and come to the event. That's happening as well. So again, just kind of a good example of how you can utilize our tools, through an e-commerce portal, along with this idea where you can go through and personalize that experience for this upcoming open house. Okay. So another example I wanted to show you is actually there's some pretty cool things that customers are doing with our technology. Here's an example of a company that's actually doing a lot of cool things with setting up this idea where they can order things like masks and things and decals and that type of thing through our technology, right? As far as that goes. Oops. Let's see, let's go back and reshare. Problem is I think I timed out there. So okay. And also there's those other things as well. Here's one example of actually utilizing social media, right? Now this can be set up. So with this one, it's actually using a fictitious company called Zig Insurance. And I'll click on my messenger here as well. With this, what we can do is actually we can actually get like a quote for travel insurance, what we're talking about, right? So So those for saying, the big insurance, we love travel insurance. We have tailored packages for certain destinations, including Orlando, Lucerne, Chicago, and Dusseldorf, right? Would you like to get one, coverage for one of those locations? I'll say yes. And then what I'll do is actually, ask me, okay, which destination are you looking to go to, right? So is it Chicago? Is it Lucerne? Is it one of the different locations we're looking to go to, right? As far as that goes. And so I'll say, well, good, let's maybe go to Chicago. So I'll click on that one. I'll do that. And then what we'll do is ask me how many people are actually looking to go. And I'll say, well, there's be 4 of us. We'll pick my family as well. And this is great. Okay, so just confirming that includes yourself. I'll say yes. And so what we have is actually a chat file that's working in the background, right? And what we can do now is actually create like a PDF comparison of the different coverages that are available. So I'll click on this one. What this allows me to do is actually see, okay, it's going to personalize the coverages based on the information I provided, right? And actually give me like a PDF that I can then make a choice which coverage I want to go with, right? So here's what's covered under the basic, here's what's covered under the premium as well. I'll say, okay, we'll go ahead and go with the premium. So I'll click on premium. And what you'll see, it's going to go ahead and confirm my email address. It actually pulls this from Facebook as well. And now it's going to do is actually go and it's going to create a website for me that's specific for me, where I can go ahead and fill out the rest of the details and get my policy. I'll click on this one. Click on yes. Well, then just go ahead and create a web link for me. I can click on that to complete my policy, and then goes ahead and creates that for me, that website for me where I can fill out the rest of the information. So what's going to ask me for is things like what's the start travel date. I'll say, well, we're going to leave, say, on the 28th of August, and we'll end, say, maybe in maybe September 26th, right? I click on submit for this with that information. It's going to go ahead and confirm the content that's captured. And what I can also do is actually include Adobe Sign as part of this. So I can actually click on Sign Contract. It then goes out and takes this information we've actually now acquired through the social media interaction, and go ahead and create my policy, which I can go through and I can execute this online, right? So, and again, using, in this case, Adobe Sign. We can also use DocuSign as well. Okay. And so with this one, you can see that I can go ahead and click on Start. I can read the terms and conditions, click here to sign, put my information in there, and also click down here to sign as well. It'll automatically send me an email with the information, and also send me a link to the signed contract, which I can download as well. And also I can even download a personalized handbook that I can actually take with me to Chicago in this case, right? So just go out and grab the information, and now it's going to personalize the content for me as well for this piece. Okay.
Hey, John, that's incredible.
Yeah. And so here's my travel handbook, right? So going to Chicago, here's your getting ready for your trip to Chicago. Here's the travel information, right? All the information about the policy. Here's the coverages. If this was printed, it could also have like a wallet card as well. Here's some, make sure I go to show the different sites and things in Chicago as well. Some facts about it as well. Again, these are just PDF files generated from an Indesign document with all the different things we provided as far as the data is concerned. And also you'll see on the very last page, we have a QR code where the person can actually scan that and put that on their mobile device. So, okay. How are we doing on time?
Fantastic, Don. I think we're about to the end of our time.
Okay, perfect, great. All right, well, thank you so much for your time. Yeah, this is good.
Yeah, Don, thank you. And Dave, thank you. Look, to everybody at NCET who joined us tonight, we appreciate the opportunity to show some of these technologies where we're really working to help our customers and some of the cool things that can come out of this. So with that, Dave, do we have any questions or?
We certainly have time for some. Any questions, anyone?
Is that XMPie has a lot of features. It's very robust. Is it fairly easy to learn? Fairly intuitive?
Absolutely, because what we're doing is we're leveraging the tools that designers are using today, right? They're already using InDesign, and so what we're doing, we're saying, let's take it to the next level to personalize the content, right? As far as setting those types of templates and things up. So it's absolutely, and same thing with the videos, right? They're using After Effects today, It's just a matter of actually saying, okay, now let's see what we can provide as far as the variability is concerned, and merge the design along with the data, along with the business rules, provide that information in real time.
So Jake, thank you very much. What an incredible opportunity to present the different things we do. And as you learned last year live at our show, normally these presentations would be happening concurrently, you know, in front of a computer. But in this case, we rolled them all out over the course of our presentation. But you can see that we have an awful lot of technology supporting what's happening in the office environment today. Thank you.
Well, Steve, thank you, and the entire Sierra Office Solutions team, thank you folks, especially for coming in from all over the region. And we will send out the video, and if you can share the PowerPoint, we'll send that out too.